Hello and welcome to today's dev stream, where we are going to be working on Streamline mostly. Working on Streamline and then maybe doing a bit of Blender work to see what we can come up with, because I've actually been working on some designs for the new stream overlay, so we may make a start on implementing some of that later on in the stream. But first I want to get back into working on Streamline and working out how exactly we're going to get the tracks worked out. It was getting a bit complicated before. It was getting a bit awkward trying to get things sorted and having the ordering and stuff in, so I wanted to just, with a fresh mind, having not looked at it since Monday, come in and just start fresh, effectively. Plan this out a bit better, figure out exactly what we need to do, because there are many things that need tweaking. So we are going to get into that now, and I will switch us over to main screen. Increase the font size a bit so it's a bit easier for you all to see. This is the first time I've actually done this on this machine. Default to Rosetta for what architecture is required by this. Obvious. Okay, so we have our tracks which we can move in here. We can reorder our tracks. That's a fair point. Okay, so we want this where it's just going to give us our list of tracks. We can sort by order, drag, new range. We need to be able to drag on. I think what we probably need is you probably want a specific data type here, because the problem is be sorted by tracks, or you can be sorting by playlist track, because playlist track contains the sort index. So if you're just dealing with the tracks view, everything we get back as tracks, and we're only sorting by properties. But if you're dealing with the playlist view, then we're dealing with playlist tracks, and then we need to handle sorting that. So dead source has all this stuff here with Coppice. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to programmatically set up a table column, and then table should then restore. So we'll see how that works. Hey Sinister, I am doing well. How are you doing today? How does that sound compared to my voice now? Because this is all, because things have tweaked slightly going to the new Mac, everything will be slightly out of place. So hopefully that is a bit of a better volume. Okay, a tiny bit lower. Let's go down to, let's say, minus there. So let's say about there. Yeah, my voice is getting quite a bit louder than the music there, looking at it. So yeah, but yeah, just let me know over the course of the stream how it all sounds, because I'm going to have to be tweaking things. But yeah, I mean, one thing I do need to tweak is the other. Oh! I did a Swift. The other tube was hooked up to the music, so that's why it was not blinking according to my voice. I became a jukebox. But yeah, I tell you, you're doing good. The new Mac is doing pretty great. I have it all set up. In fact, I should be able to, if I can find where I have put it. There we go. So, this is the new setup. I have all my monitors rearranged, so I now have a vertical monitor on the left, which is currently where all my streaming stuff is, but it's also where communications and stuff goes usually. My nice 4K display, which rather nicely, I mean, you can't really see it on stream, but it has variable refresh rate up to 144 Hz, which is very nice to have. And then my other monitor at the back here. Back here I have my storage, which currently contains I think it contains 8 terabytes, but that's probably going to go down because I need to swap some stuff out, because 2 of those are going to be external backup drives. But that's all my storage that's going to be storing VODs from the stream, my backups and all stuff like that. But Stream Deck, my new keyboard, which I still need to actually publish the blog post. I wrote a review on the keyboard, which has been pretty great. But yeah, here we have the new Mac Studio, sat upon the corpse of a Mac Mini. So the Mac Mini is basically, as you can see, for me to throw papers in, and also to raise the studio off the desk so that hopefully there's a bit less dust getting in. Yes, I did base the mod off the lamp. I mean, the lamp, I'm probably going to want to get rid of it at some point. It served me well, but I mean, I think the springs have gone and stuff, and it doesn't hold up as much, and the light flickers a lot, so it's something that I could potentially get a better lighting setup, especially as now I have this vertical. I've been able to make this all a lot more compact. The last thing I'm getting is I actually have a monitor arm now. I'm getting another one so that this monitor here is going to go onto another monitor arm. So all of the space. So first of all, that will allow me to raise these up a bit more, because that's one thing that I've always had with the iMac is it's too low. But even these, this is now at maximum height, and for someone my height, just like an inch or so more vertical height would be nice to have. So I'm getting a monitor arm for that. Initially I was going to get a monitor arm for this as well, but I realised like when it's vertical, a 27-inch monitor that's rotated is pretty much down at the bottom, and the stuff down at the bottom is stuff I don't need to glance at too much. Like at the moment I have a browser with all my Twitch dashboard up, but I don't need to look at that too often because I've got stuff in OBS as well for viewing that. But yeah, I'm going to get a monitor arm because that's freed up all this space under here. It's going to free up all this space under here. Having that at 90 degrees has basically freed up all the space back here. So basically this massive desk that I have, because this is 1.8 meters by 70 or 80 deep. Like, I got this to be a very big tabletop, and it is, and it's great. But when you have three monitors, or two monitors and an iMac, and they've all got big stands and they're all side by side, you end up with very little desk space on such a big desk. So now I have all the space under here. When I get it, all the space under here will be free. And I've gained all this space here to have for additional stuff. So yeah, I've made it a lot more compact. It's a lot easier on my neck. So that's my new workspace. And while you're here, I can show off another workspace, which is a design for my streaming workspace, which we may start building some of later on stream. So this is something that I have been sketching. So this is my spaceship. So I'm going to have to, these are the main areas that I'm going to be streaming. So you're going to see the control thing there with windows looking out. You're going to have like a desk thing somewhere that I'll be able to have it like holographic projection stuff. I'm going to have to work out the sizing of this, because this and this are going to be the most important things because of camera position. Like this bit here, that is going to be the screen. So this is going to be the starting area, and then you go back and you get to the area back here. This area here is going to be the engine room, which I've done in isometric up here. I was initially going to have like the fuel storage in here, but I actually have, these are stairs that go down, so you've got crew quarters here, but downstairs you're going to have like a lounge area, more crew quarters, a sick bay, and then sort of storage and another like lower section to the engineering section. Yes, that is a propeller on the back, because how else are you going to fly in space without a propeller? But yeah, I finally worked out the shape I want. So it's almost like a heart shape, but instead of curving in, it curves out to go around. So it just gives me this nice, you're going back and then you've got wings at the side, so you're going to have wings coming out at the side, and then at the bottom is the airlock. So I'm probably going to start out by building this because that's where most of the stream is going to be, but I would like to build out the entire spaceship. Hey Snowtwig, yes it is the spaceship. So I would like to build out the whole thing, including all the crew quarters and stuff, and build up the lore about where exactly is the crew gone? Why are there so many crew quarters when it's just a robot on here? But yeah, this is roughly what I'm doing. I mean, this is going to be the main engine that I've built up, and there's going to be stuff like a workbench here, and I haven't decided how exactly I'm going to plan all this out, but yeah, I now have sort of the exterior of the spaceship. I've got the interior sort of roughly planned out. So what I may actually do, even to begin with, is even if the stream is just here, I may still put just the empty rooms with everything and the stairs, so I can go around, and then at the back, and then all the doors will just be locked, and I'll gradually unlock the doors over time as I build the rooms. So the exterior, you can see sort of the top down view of the exterior in the grey. So it's almost, I mean, you can almost think it a bit like a array sort of shape, roughly, just with like initially I was doing like a sort of array shape, and it's going to be a long tail, but then I figured, well, why not stick something on here? And then I figured, well, why not go completely bizarre and just make it a propeller? The propeller flies you in space. So this is sort of the side view, so you can see you've got the top floor, the bottom floor, so it's going to be this sort of shape, and sort of come down. So the front bit is a bit like Thunderbird 2, except with out sort of a pod. This is just going to be opening up down. So I mean, it's also, you could think of it a bit as like Serenity, the ship from Firefly, where it has sort of the cockpit above, and then down below there's a door that opens at the front to actually open up like airlock and stuff like that. It's also got a little, like from the side profile, a little bit of the Defiant from Star Trek in its sort of side profile. I mean, if I bring some of these up, so you've got, like, this is Serenity, so this is a bit more stretched out, but it's sort of down there, you where you have sort of the lower level that opens up at the front. USS Defiant. So you can sort of see from a side profile of the Defiant, it's a very sort of slim shape, so it gives me a bit of vibes like that. But I mean, one thing that I take a lot of inspiration from are go to Forge World, and I hadn't consciously taken design inspiration from this, but looking at it once it was done, it's like, oh, I actually am taking a lot of inspiration from this, which is, go to Warhammer, Xenos Armies, Tau Empire. So let's open up a bunch of these. So you have the tiger shark, which is a very flat and sort of opened, like very flat and sort of, well, it's like an aquatic creature. Most of these are, because you've got the tiger shark, you've got the barracuda, which again is flat and splays out almost like a delta wing sort of thing, and then you have the manta, which is very much similar, because you have a drop down thing that comes down at the front to, right, so drop down, opens up, but I mean you can see that it sort of bows down a bit, but it's very wide, very flat. So I mean, if you look at the shape, it's almost a bit like a reverse of the manta. If you imagine this is the front and it just bows out and it's just going to go round and then come to a point and then go around. So yeah, it's realizing rather than going for, initially I was thinking of like a shuttle shape where it's like pointed with a delta wing and stuff. But when I realised, well, if I stick these things out, then I can have it just wings and going back, and you can have almost any shape you want. So it's going to be a somewhat fluid design going around. So yeah, we'll see how it works out. I may make it a bit more angular just because low poly. So it may be that rather than this being a perfect curve, it is just like a bunch of straight lines that are angled round. But yeah, that is what I'm hoping to go for and start building some of this up. Maybe, like I say, maybe starting later on in the stream, starting with like this area of the ship. Because like I said, the idea is to build the interior, maybe block out all of the levels, and then I can go in. But yeah, it's something that should be fun to build up and give lots of fun potential. Below this, in the level below the engine, there are going to be some vats of all sorts of different vats of brightly coloured liquid, and I'm not going to specify what the liquid is. But that's going to be the fuel for the ship, and it will be up to people to decide, okay, what is this fuel? The outside will be all of the above, Snowtwig. Initially it's going to be space, but the idea is that you could be flying around the planet, you could be flying underwater. The chat will be able to redeem things which will take us to different places, and maybe each over the course of the stream I'll add more places, and maybe there'll be a new place that we start at and you'll be able to see things going on outside. But yeah, yes, who can say, Sinister? Who can say? Who can really say whether in my own head canon maybe my spaceship stumbles across a world with these cute little bouncing balls of jelly that happen to be good fuel and has abducted some of them for the fuel, and that's what's in the brightly coloured tanks. But yeah, I'm going to be vague with a lot of it. I mean, one thing I would like to do is some of the rooms will be closed, and sort of as I go by a sound plays out, sort of knocking on the door, let me out, and just ignore that. That's just the ship creaking as I go down the stairs. So yeah, it should be a fun thing to build up and play around. I mean, the big thing for me is going to be how to take the stuff into Unity and whether I want it to be like one big set or not. I mean, being low poly, it should be, but it's the thing of this is going to be running while I'm also streaming and while I am either working in Blender or working on apps and compiling stuff. So I want to make sure it's fairly well optimized, but it is going to be working at exactly how much I want to do. Yeah, it could be modules. I mean, I think what I'm going to do is build it all as one model in Blender, but then I can split it out, because worst case scenario in Unity I'll be able to take parts of it and just hide it. And in theory, a lot of it, if I can set up like occlusion and stuff like that, if it's not visible, the engine should hopefully not bother rendering it and do the performance cycles on it. Like for example, there's no point having any of the downstairs loaded in until I go through this door. So I can do stuff like that. Hopefully hiding stuff in Unity basically just frees up. I mean, memory is not going to be an issue because I've got loads of memory in this system. And in theory, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. Like OBS at the moment, CPU is what, 4%, 4.1%, but that is running in Rosetta, so OBS isn't even running natively on my machine. And if I have a look, yeah, so we're not really taxing things too much, and the temperature's all good, so we'll see how it works. Do I know how to get the Twitch stuff in Unity to work? I do not. I mean, Unity, I haven't actually touched Unity in 4 years, 5 years. I played around with it. I've played around with it a bit loads of times. Like, not long after it came out, I messed around with it a bit, because I mean, Unity was first a Mac only thing. Like, it came out to provide a decent game engine for the Mac, and then they've sort of built it up and ported it to all these other platforms so it can be used pretty much anywhere. But I need to get back into learning how the basics of Unity work, and then the Twitch stuff, I know the basics, but I'm sort of waiting for Doig to come out with his tutorial. It's why I'm hoping to get onto this Discord server he's created and hopefully like beta test the tutorial so that I can get access to this stuff and find out, okay, how have you done this? Because like building it from first principles, I could do that. It's just a case of looking at Twitch's API documentation and then doing the appropriate web calls, and I believe it's using WebSockets, so it's just a case of configuring the WebSockets, talking to the Twitch API and responding when you get stuff in. So it's basic internet communication, so it's stuff I've done before. It's just learning specifically what does Twitch need for that. But having a tutorial obviously helps a lot more. I think the thing that is going to get me the most is not actually the Twitch integration, because like I say, that is essentially just stuff I've done before with a different website. It's actually going to be all the graphical stuff, so making sure all the textures are in and work correctly, rigging up all the models and getting the animations and stuff. Like, for example, my robot is going to have a texture on its face, and that texture may end up being animated. That I may have a go at like hand animating that, rather than doing it all in 3D. But it's a question of, can I do that and hook that up to audio and stuff, or is it going to be better making it sort of just 3D elements on the screen? So we'll see how that all goes. But yeah, it's going to be fun to play around with. I think Barry's stream already did that. That's a fair point. I was meaning to look up that. Let's see if I can find where it is. It was the 1st of April he did it. Now we are behind the scenes. Okay, so that's the look. So I'll probably give that a watch potentially over this weekend and see what I can learn about that. But I mean, this is going to be something I'm building up over time. If I can get the basics of this up, because all I really need to start streaming is these 2 rooms, maybe stuff here, a space, background at the back, and then the ability to show my screen here. Actually showing my screen is going to be one of the more complex things to work out, because it's a question of what approach do I go for that? Because there are actually 2 approaches. One is more complex but potentially better looking, which is how Gwilym has done it, where he records the screen and then applies that as a texture inside Unity. And that's why he gets such good transitions, because as he moves the camera around, all the perspective is correct because it's just rendered as a texture on. But then you get how Doig does it, where he does basically chroma keys out and just has a screen recording. So a bit like this is just a screen recording now, I would have the overlay on top, but I would have the overlay, 3D overlay, have a chroma key that would be transparent, so when it shows behind, it's showing my screen. So it's going to be working out exactly how to do all that, what the best approach is, what the most efficient approach is, but we'll see when we get to it. I think initially I probably will go the chroma key option, unless it's fairly simple. I mean, I'm hoping chroma key, I would assume, will be less performance intensive, because then the only thing doing screen capture is OBS. So OBS will be doing the screen capture, rendering that in, and then it's capturing also the... I mean, it's sort of a question, because there's always going to be 2 screen captures. There's going to be a screen capture of the actual stream, and then there's going to be a screen capture of the overlay. Now for the overlay, I may be able to... I'm not sure, but it may be possible to use the game capture thing to be more efficient, so we'll see. Hi Voodoo Gaming Studio, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for the raid. How are you today? And how was your stream? what were you up to? And for everyone who's come in, I am Martin. I am currently a little robot, and I mostly do Mac development, programming various things for the app. When I'm not doing contract work, I'm working on my own apps. But yes, I'm currently also playing around. Thanks for the follow and thanks for the raid, and hope you have a great day too. Thanks for bringing people over, and hope your game jam went well. So yeah, what we're currently discussing is actually a new stream overlay that I'm going to be building at probably a bit later in the stream. I want to get some coding work done first, but later in the stream, probably going into Blender and having to play around because I'm still learning Blender. Hi Finite. Yes, it is looking a little different. That's because it's currently a little bit on hiatus. At the moment, I'm working on this, which is Streamline, which is a sort of a music player with a difference, because these things here are going to end up being, in fact I can show you if I open up Photoshop and bring up the designs. Streamline. No, do not update. Playback, show scenes. So you're going to, what Streamline is going to be is you're going to be able to set up scenes for a stream and have different playlists assigned and different things such as what happens when it finishes, does it repeat or go to another scene, how does the transitions work, does it shuffle or not. So this is going to be something where it's like a soundboard for playlists. So it's going to be great for streaming if you're running like tabletop RPG or something. So this is what I'm currently building, or rather one of two things I'm currently building, because the other thing I'm currently building, and what we were just discussing, is is this here, which is designs for my new stream overlay, which is going to be all done in Blender and Unity, where my little robot is going to be wandering around his own spaceship. And it's just, I spent some time yesterday and Thursday planning out exactly what the layout's going to be, what the spaceship exterior is going to look like. I've been trying this for a while, so I've just been playing around sketching. So later on in the stream we'll be starting to build some of this and see what we can actually get like working in Blender, because I'm still learning Blender. I'm still fairly new to Blender, so it's probably going to be slow going for a while. Have I seen Corush stream before? No, I haven't. I'll have to check that out. Let me make a note. So yeah, I'll probably have to have a look there. I mean, the main inspiration for me is the Doig Swift stream. They've been doing a lot of this for a while, where they have their own environment in Unity which they can run around and stream from and get up to all sorts of shenanigans. So this is basically going to be the environment that my little robot character will wander around in, have the sort of the main bridge, and then go over to the side here where there'll be a nice screen here that will share my display, and then I can just run around. But the idea is to build this up and make it a lot more interactive for chat, so when a raid comes in, you can go to red alert. Chat will be able to send me to different locations, so when I'm on the bridge, you'll be able to see outside, and I'll be able to have it like walk to different locations around different planets or different places in space and so on. So it's working at all the things, so it should be fun to build. Nice little side project and make things a lot more interactive and a lot more interesting than just my little robot being a static figure in the bottom right. There'll be something that will be able to actually move around the bottom of the screen, running back and forth towards the camera, away from the camera, so it should be quite fun. But yeah, there's quite a few streamers getting into this. So Dog Swift is one. In fact, let's give these shout outs. So Dog Swift is one, and another one is Gwilym, who has a really cool setup that they've, for the most part, just built out of pre-bought assets because they're more of a programmer, but they're slowly like adding their own stuff in. But there are quite a few people out there doing some cool stuff, so it's fun to play around with, see what I can come up with. But yeah, and yes, Snowtwig, visiting. I'm definitely going to have it where there's going to be an option to visit a planet where you'll be able to see an airship going around, trailed by many ships full of what seem to be jelly cats flying after them, trying to raid them. But yeah, it's going to be fun building all this up. But first, we need to get to stuff that is maybe not quite as interesting as that, which is building up the whole track view, which is going to have to essentially be rewritten, because what I was initially saying was that at the moment in here, when you have tracks, we don't want to display this column. We just want to have all the properties of the tracks, and you can sort the tracks by various items. But this doesn't make sense here because this is just displaying all the tracks and you can't rearrange this. Whereas on the playlist we do. Now the problem here is our data model splits this up into two things, because you have the track which contains all the song data, but then you have the playlist track which just has the sort index and then references to the other items, so to the playlist and the track that it's in. Which means that if we want a track view, this needs to order both tracks and playlist tracks. So what we are probably going to need to do is set this up so that when you add stuff in, it's going to create all of the columns manually, because at the moment we have them set up in the nib. So we're probably going to do this manually and create all this manually, and for now we'll keep it as cell based because it just makes things a bit easier for this sort of table, but we'll probably change that later. But yeah, it's going to create all the columns and then sort stuff out, and we're going to have our own like wrapper type for this that will actually specify what columns are needed, because it depends on the playlist, the user may have hidden and shown some columns and so on, and if there's no playlist then we don't want to display certain columns and stuff like that. But then it should hopefully also allow us to do the sorting a lot better, and basically work all this stuff out, so it basically just tidies this up. So I think what we're going to do is, first off, let's create our next model. Okay, Snowstreak, hope you enjoy lunch, and probably going to be going until about 3 PM UK time, so maybe another, what, hour 40 minutes, so hopefully I'll still be here when you get back, once you finish lunch, but if not, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and weekend. Yes. I don't want to just call it a track. Let's call it a track row. And value is going to be a kind, which is either going to be a track, or it's going to be a list track. So you're going to have kind, and then just want to initialize with the kind. And then for the track row, it's probably going to want to sort by column. In fact, this may be able to give us the value for a column. We can get the row and just say value for particular column. So what we probably want is from the data source, we're going to copy that across, and then value column. So we're going to be able to go through and ask the track row for the column. Could also potentially because we want to sort it same ascending. You know what? Let's at the moment we have that there where it is. Iris. So it's a question of, do I want to support multiple sort keys or not? Because I would have to handle all that manually. I think it's something that I may want to handle at some point in the future, but for now I'm going to probably cause more pain for my future self and just say there's only going to be one sort key. Because that's how the vast majority of people use this, so be able to do sort column. Oh, fair point. Column sort is going to be for column equals column, and for ending is going to be a boolean, and then we can have our dot column equals dot column, which is going to default title ending. I'm going to do equatable and arable. That's going to complain, and then we'll subs. Something this small, I don't bother putting like protocol conformances into extensions. Okay, so in this case, we want to make these equatable. The track should be equatable. Yeah, they are. So we're just going to return left hand side dot kind equals right hand side dot kind. For here though, oh, need the sort columns to be the same here. So what we are probably going to is not use comparable. Have sort column there. We are going to have our function, which is going to be our sorted is after row. Sort column. Return true and return false there. So this should be able to let us do the usual thing where we can just do, is this after or before this other row? But we can do the sort column. And we can get away without comparable because we'll just do it here. So I want to keep that the same. The sort descriptor stuff we want to get rid of because column title true. Music's still loud. Okay. Brighten it down a bit more then. How does that sound? I have been talking a little bit quieter, but hopefully that sounds a bit better. Okay. It's still finding exactly where I want the music to be since I've drifted machines, because all my audio levels have moved around a lot. So we will see where exactly we settle on there, but it's significantly lower than it was. This is the problem with going, oh, I'll just start afresh on the new computer, and then you realise just how many things that you've got customised on the old one. Right, so we are going to get rid of all of, well, most of this. I'm going to get rid of that. No. Let's get rid of all of this. Right, so we're going to do view models, and then columns. This is going to be table tracks model dot column. And it's still. Let me check my mic input setting. No, microphone seems okay. Let me just tweak that up a bit. That should hopefully be better. Oh! No, I should have all of my filters on, don't I? Yeah, I have everything. Noise gate, compressor, limiter, so they're all good. It's probably just me when I start mumbling. When I as you say, Andy, it's when I get into coding and I just start almost speaking to myself. So let's have. Okay, we can get rid of all of this because what we want to do is get our track row. Be self.viewModel.tracks at the row. So actually, we're going to want to shove that in this guard statement. So shove that up there. Get the table column, get the actual column we want, get the track row, and then we just want to return track row. Column, no, value for column. And that lets us delete all of that. We want a pasteboard item, so we will add that to it. And then we're going to this is going to be a table view model.column, get the sort descriptor.key, and then we don't care about that. What we want to do, we've got sort column. So this is going to be, sort column is nothing, sort descriptors are nothing. Actually, let's default back to default sorting there. And then it's self.viewModel sort column is going to equal our column, and ascending is going to be the sort descriptor dot ascending. And then it's going to complain about everything. Why are you complaining? Because it is tracks view model, and these are going to be tracks view model dot sort column. Add that in there. Okay, and then the last thing we need to do to make that all compile is for pasteboard item, which shall be switch self.kind. Oh dear. I have just realised a fatal flaw. So my initial thought was, oh, this will be easy because I'll just do this and then return playlist track.id.pasteboard item, and everything will be absolutely fine, except that is complaining. If it needs to be an optional type, why didn't you insert that? So I was thinking, oh, well, if it's a track, I just need to return the track ID, and if it's a playlist track, I just need to return the playlist tracks ID. So in all cases, it's track ID, and that's great, because then I can do all the stuff that I can do. For example, from here I can take the foobar track and drag it to playlist 2 and it appears there, or I can go into a playlist and drag to that, and again, it's great, it's fantastic. What about if I'm dragging that up to there? Then I need the playlist track. Now I can't do that actually. I need the playlist track ID. Because a track can appear multiple times, so I can't base it off the track. I suppose I could add a separate so you have a pasteboard item. And what this does is this sets a property list for a type. What I could also do is add an identifier on the track row And to this pasteboard item, I can also insert another type, which is the track row type. That would solve it. Okay. That's your first problem, thinking it will be easy. That is the first problem for any sort of programming. Just, oh, this won't be hard. This will be easy. And then it ends up taking absolutely forever to do. And then the stuff that you think is going to be hard ends up being easy. The problem is you'd think, oh, that would average out. The hard stuff being easy means that it takes less time, and the easy stuff being hard means it takes more time, so you're fine. The problem is, you think, oh, that's hard, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to do the easy stuff instead, and therefore you've basically loaded yourself with lots of easy stuff that ends up taking much longer. Andy wants to know where I got the name Coppice from. So I got the name Coppice from multiple places. The first place is that where I grew up, I lived near a hill called the Coppice. It's a rather large hill full of trees, and just looking out my bedroom window at the back, I could just look and just see all these fields and trees going up this hill. So I lived around the Coppice at my primary school. There were different houses at the school. There was Stanley, there was Hamilton, and there was Coppice, and I was in Coppice. And part of it was wanting to actually build, name it, like give that bit of recognition of where I've grown up and lived most of my life, so throwing that in there. It also sort of came about because initially I was looking at, I wonder if I actually have the spreadsheet so you can see some of my awful names that I had tried to come up with. Is it going to be in iCloud? Here we are. So these are some of the names that I had initially tried coming up with. So the code name was Bubbles because you had these code bubbles. If I bring Coppice up, so you have all these bubbles of notes. So therefore, bubble notes and note bubbles is a bit of a wiki. So I'm just going through all these different things. You had floats, Mindable, Mindbank, Visual Wiki, ThoughtBank, ThoughtGraph, Notemap, and all of these were terrible. And then I came up with the idea, well, you start with a root, and I was already calling these things that come off branches. So okay, let's go down some tree names. So I started looking at like various tree names: oak, ash, willow, all these different tree names, and they were all taken and stuff. And then I just sort of like looked out my office window at my old house and saw the Coppice. I was like, oh, Coppice. And then it sort of clicked because I also thought about, okay, what actually is a Coppice? Now, it is a name for the hill. Ironically, there isn't much coppicing going on. Coppicing is an actual thing that you do with woodland. So if I bring up, if I just search for Coppice and image, so this is coppicing. In fact, this is a good example. So you can see all these thin branches coming out. that is coppicing. You can see these trees, how they all spin out. This is just like one tree stump, two tree stumps, three tree stumps, and you get all these different bits coming out. And it's a way of managing woodland where you basically cut a tree back to its stump, but let it grow out again in lots of smaller trunks from the base, and it allows you to harvest wood. So this goes back, I believe, to like the Iron Age and the Bronze Age and so on, where they were cutting down trees and using this to help manage the woodland and produce a lot of wood. And I think up until the Industrial Revolution, most of the wood that was produced, so like everyday stuff, was produced via coppicing, because it allows you to build a sustainable way of getting access to various varieties of wood and building it up, and you can cut one bit down and let it grow back without having to basically cut down the whole tree and plant a new one. So for certain types of wood, it is very useful, and it's just one of those things of, okay, well, you've got all these branches coming out and you're cultivating it. Or what you're doing with Coppice, well, you've got all these branches coming out and you're effectively cultivating your thoughts and ideas. So that is where the idea for the name Coppice came from. So it was just like a little bit of a mix of a homage to where I grew up, but also it is essentially what you are doing, but not with wood and trees and stuff, but with your thoughts. And it sort of stuck. It was thankfully available as a name, so it's been quite a fun and name to come up with. So I'm pretty pleased with it, and it was just a bit of serendipity that it was like struggling with this, and then it was actually Steve Troughton Smith who like helped push me on to thinking about trees, and then it was just came up with this, and it was just like, why did it take so long for me to come up with that name? It's always the thing. Why does it take you so long to come up with the final solution when it seems so obvious in hindsight? But that is the problem. You never have hindsight, so you've got to work through. Okay, I think what I'm just going to do is run away for a minute just to refill my glass of water. When we get back, I'll do just a bit more on this, because what I want to do is try and get some of this hooked up and see if we can get it sorting and everything. Maybe even see if we can get it dragging and dropping. So that would probably take another, what, 30-40 minutes or so. And then I'm going to go into Blender and just mess about for an hour or so, seeing what I can build of the new stream overlay. So I will see you all in a minute or two once I get a fresh glass of water.
Welcome. You've got mail. You've got mail.
Okay, I am back. So, let's get back into it. So what we want to do here in the data source, we're getting the value for the column, we're getting the pasteboard item which is now set up. So, got the sort column there. So this should all, in theory, be looking fairly good. So what we want to do now is switch on column. And what I'm going to do is on here we'll add some properties, and this is showing off my favorite feature of Swift, which is enums, and I believe it's pretty much everyone's favorite feature of Swift. Because you can add properties and functions to your enums, which can do things such as this, where we're going to return a track. So we're going to switch on self, and this is just going to return track, and this is going to return playlist.track. And here we can return self.kind.sort index, and then we're going to return self.kind.track.title. Actually, what we could possibly do is cheat a bit. So if I select all these, this won't be perfect, but I can do self.kind.track. And paste all those in. Now that is going to be the file UTI, but other than that, everything else is done. What I am going to do is just format this slightly. Just neaten that up a bit. Right, so let's build and run. And that is not appearing because I have forgotten to reload tracks. So, in reload tracks, if so, let var track rows equals our track rows, So if playlist equals self.playlist, then we're going to get the playlist, build it with the playlist tracks, otherwise we're just going to build it with all of the tracks available. So track rows. Actually, we should be able to just map this. Theory. Playlist dot tracks dot map, and then it's going to be a track row of kind playlist track $0. So we need to have dot model controller dot track collection dot all so this isn't going to be sorted, but they are appearing correctly. So now we need to sort them, which is going to be sorted by $0 dot is after $1 self dot sort column. So that should be okay. So what we need to have here is probably another switch statement here. This is going to be sort column. Dot column. Let's just undo a bunch of this, because what I want to do is get something back. That. So then we can go all the way back to the beginning. That is good. That's just going to be a bool. We don't actually care about equatable, we just care about this, and if ascending, actually we can just return ascending value 1. Value 1 is 2, or value 1, 2. So if value 1 is nil, well, we can do guard at value 1 equals value 1, else we actually want this to be the other way around. If self is after other row. Now if one, no, we want it to be is before. So we guard let value 1 equals value 1, otherwise return sending. We assume that value 2 is greater than value 1 if we're sending, or value 2 is greater if we're descending. Then we can do guard let value 2 equals value 2, else, and here we're going to return not ascending. And in theory that shouldn't cause much of an issue because we shouldn't ever really need to compare these, but right, let's copy that and we're going to compare self.kind.track dot that other row dot kind dot track dot that ascending sort column ascending. Oop. Right, we'll leave tags as false. Why are you complaining? Because we don't care about the track. So this wants to be is before. So this should hopefully not quite. So we are sorting, because if I was to swap that to false, we should end up with track 3, 2, 1. So we're getting that, we're just not updating it, which is pretty obvious because I have not told it to update. Self.needs reload equals true. That needs to go back to true. I'm gonna go here. There we go. And oh yeah, new computer, who this? I have forgotten to put some stuff out. So let's drag out mean to start that playing, I meant to drag that out. What if I drag these in? They appear. So that is all appearing. There we go. So, we're getting a fair amount done. So the next thing is going to be, we can drag these and drag them into playlists, but when they are in playlists, we want to be able to rearrange them. So for that, actually let's commit what we have already. I've just realised I do not have my bug tracking open. Linear. Let's just board. So Streamline 1 is going to be add tracks. Sorting to tracks view, and let's start doing some stuff to do rearranging. So the first thing we want to do is we have track row, static, like baseboard type. Let's look for model ID plus baseboard. Track row. Let's just add ID. Because we're not actually going to store this, what we're going to do, then track.id and playlist track. Playlist.id. This isn't going to be optional, and we're going to have var UUID. We're going to return self.kind.modelid.uuid. Now you may be thinking, well, what's the difference? Why don't we just use the model ID? The model ID has its own type and various other things. This is purely for drag and drop. This is designed for persistence. It will tell us, okay, this is this exact type, what the actual model type is, and a unique identifier for it, so we can quickly work out, okay, what is the type of this thing, whereas here we just need this for our basic drag and drop. So what we are going to then do down here, pasteboard item is going to be known as pasteboard item. don't want this to be optional. And then what we're going to do is pasteboard item dot set string, and we're going to do self.kind dot actually self.uuid dot uuid string for type, which is going to be self.pasteboard type. Don't know why we've capitalized that. And then we can return the item. So that gets added to the pasteboard type. Then what we want to do up here, are we actually doing it in the data source? No, let's do it in the controller. Self.tableview dot register for drag types, and here we're going to add a tracks view model dot track row dot pasteboard type. So what that should let us do is receive table view validate drop and table view accept drop. So if info dot drag and pasteboard dot contain God let our types equals to types, else we're going to return nothing, and types contains, no, not contains where, just contains stream model dot track row dot pasteboard type. I think we want generic. We also want the proposed the drop operation to equal above. So that should let us drag between the rows now. Which it does. Now we don't want this to happen if not of place. So what we want to have is var allows the arranging tracks, which is going to return self.playlist is not equal to nil. And we're only going to register for drag types if self.viewModel dot allows rearranging tracks. So that is now going to disable it here. So now, while I can drag and place into other places, I can't actually rearrange, but here I can both drag there and rearrange, but it's not going to do anything because we're not accepting the drop. So one thing I have just realized is that's returning the sort index. We actually want to change this where object for value, if column is equal to index, then return row plus 1. Because we don't want to actually rearrange these are always going to count up. So let's have a look here. Move tracks on pasteboard, and there's pasteboard. No, move tracks with IDs. Of track at. Oh, it should be at. And false. So this we're going to do guard. Let types equals info.dragonpasteboard.types. Types contains pasteboard type, and our drop operation is above else turn false. Then we want to get our tracks. Our UUIDs are going to be our info.dragonpasteboard.pasteboard items. So we actually need to item equals that. We want string for type. Then we also want to compact map those into UID ID string $0. So that should give us our IDs, and then we can just return self.viewModel.move tracks of IDs above track at index. Oh. Are false. So how we're going to do this is similar to our code here. So first of all, we're going to let tracks to move equal left.tracks filter UIDs contains $0.UID. Guard tracks to move that is greater than 0, else false. So var track in tracks to move. Oh, we need var new tracks equals to track row self dot just self dot tracks. So new tracks first index of track view model dot track. Oh, tracks view model dot track row. Get that. This is our insert contents of new tracks. No, of tracks to move. What tracks view model, and that gets what we want. Probably get set is going to be essentially the same thing, except that is going to be break. And this is going to be playlist track.sort index equals new value. Or rather, if let sort index equals sort index. Sort index equals value. Okay, well, I guess we're not doing that. Let's just return this track then.
You've got mail.
And now for the sorting, we can just return playlist track that sorted it. Track.kind.playlist track dot sort index equals index. Rename this to track row. Track rows. Will return true. Dot needs reload equals. So let's see what this does for us. Here we can't do anything, but here, track 3, drag it to there. That does nothing at the moment, except when we do that. So if I was to drag all those into there, if we're sorting by title, does nothing. If we're sorting here, we can see, okay, this is our index, but I can now rearrange, and if I want these to go all the way to the top, I can do, but it's not doing the selection correctly. But I think that is good enough for now. We can rearrange that. So I think that is enough for us to do manually ordering playlists. So we will check that off, and I think what we're going to do is finish with coding for the day, because what I would like to do is get some work done on this and see what we can build out. What I might do is like go into Blender and initially just box out all the rooms across both floors, just so we can get a sense of the size. So let's launch Blender. And I actually did a bit more work on my lamp model. If I open it up, so we have all this here. But I've added some constraints on, if I can select the correct thing there, so I can rotate this but only within a certain region. This one again I can rotate and it's limited where it can go, and I believe that one probably because I'm going at a weird angle. So it rotates around. So at some point I am going to animate this and just have it hop over. I just need to get around to learning how that stuff works. But for now, let's go into here, and what I am going to do is let's see, I'm going to remove that face. So what we want to do here, go out. Now I have in Affinity Designer a basic outline here of the shape that I want. I also have it in Procreate with grids, which if I turn on my drawing guide, I'll switch back to my 2D grid, I'll be able to count out. And I've made this a bit smaller in here but we'll see what it looks and feels like. So let's create our first thing. So we actually want to be looking top down. So if we have our X and Y, what we want to do is let's scale this out. So I'm looking at around 7 wide. Let's 3.5 on the scale X, and we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the scale Y is going to be 4.5. So that is going to be what one? Oh, Sinister, are you still there? Because I discovered something the other day. I solved a problem I had with Blender. So, you know the issue where if I zoom in really close and it starts really slowing down, what you can do, where is it? Edit preferences. If you have auto depth on, you may need to do, no, it's to selection. You can actually still zoom in and it still works. So if you actually hit if I zoom really far in, I should be able to, I can still move around. So if you just hit numpad full stop to go to selected, you can actually zoom in. Now the auto depth, I think you don't need auto depth to do that. Auto depth should do it automatically. So, like if I was to, let's add monkey. Let's move over here. Let's scale down small. Smaller. So you can see it's slowing down a bit, so if I go in even more, right, so we're at the lowest level. But if you have auto depth on, when I'm let's zoom right in. Where's it gone? If I zoom right in, right, that is as far in as I can zoom, and I can't move about. But when I select it, no, it's not that. Why does it not always do it? But yeah, if you go and use the dot, the auto depth is meant to actually change it because it's meant to be something about the focal length of your camera, something like that. But if you use, it's basically if you, oh there, frame selected. If you use frame selected, it actually lets you go even deeper, zooming in and all stuff like that. So that should hopefully help. So you may not need to enable the auto depth, but yeah, frame selected seems to fix that issue, so you can actually get in much closer. So this is roughly going to be the bridge. So let's just align this here, make this 0.5 meters. So it's not currently perfectly centered, but good enough. And then if I was to let's do these as duplicate objects. Because if we're doing them as duplicate objects, it's easier to split them out later. Outside of edit mode. Right, so it's Shift B. Shift B. Move that to there. Right, so that is 0.5 and the Y is minus 8.5. And the scale X is fine, but the scale Y, that's going to be 5, so we want that to be 2.5. Oh yeah, the center's there. So we want to shift that up by 2, so that's going to be 6.5. And then we want some, what are they, 4x5? Yes. So if we shift the over to there, scale is going to be 2.5 by 2. And I want these around there. So -1 and 0.5, and then we're going to copy that on the X to there. I forgot you could use snapping. So let's set Z to 0. Actually, we probably want it to be... How tall are these? If that's a 1, if we set the Z to 1, so we set the Z of all these to 1. Okay, so we have our basic upstairs. So what we want for downstairs, they haven't really shown the downstairs off. So if I shift D there to there, then what we want to do is scale along X. We want to go down, that is going to be 5, yep. But it is going to be 2. Change that to -7, so that's going to go to about there. And then what we're going to do for these is just hide them, and then we're going to duplicate that up along the Y. Oh, that is the wrong width. That should be 2.5. And then for this, what do we want it to be? Well, the height. So the Y we want to be 3. Nope, not for that one. For this one, because we want it 6. And then the width is going to be, what would that be? 7 plus 3, so 13. 6.5. And we can move this along the Y. There. So we have our basic section. Actually, no, we want that to be 3.5. We need just a bit more. Because down here we are going to have some. So what we're going to have at the top is it's going to be living, like 2 sets of living quarters, and then some stairs that go down. When you go down, there are going to be some more living. In fact, if we hide that and we go to our top down view. So there's going to be living quarters here, like all along here. This is sort of like the base thing. It's going to be like a sick bay over here and the storeroom down here, and all of this area is going to be like a sort of a kitchen thing, and then you're going to, in the middle here, have the airlock that heads out. So if I show everything, this is the interior of the spaceship, just blocked out. And we can block out even more stuff, but what we're going to focus on is this and this. Those are going to be our main rooms. Everything else is just going to be essentially locked off to begin with until I actually get around to design it. So what I'm going to do first is go to streaming overlay. Unreal 3D overlay. And call this ship interior. Yeah, you can definitely see the ray shape. And it just really came together when I stuck those on the side, and you can just see it go along, and it's almost like natural, flatter at the front, and then tapers off to the back. And like I said, initially I was just going to have a long tail on it, but then I thought, well, if I make it stubby, that can be sort of an engine. And I thought, why not stick propellers on it? Propellers push you forward in space. We are using Treasure Planet logic here. If you can have a sailboat in space, you can have propellers in space. This is just more modern Treasure Planet. And if you've never seen Treasure Planet, you really should, because it's a pretty good movie. You can also see almost the Thunderbird 2-esque, where it goes out at the top and then comes down. So it's going to probably curve down like that, curve under, and then going to be an angle there. So what I'm probably going to do is interior and exterior will be two different things. And what I will probably do is have at the front an airlock, so that if I go into the airlock, I can just do some sort of animation and transition to an outside thing if I ever want to go outside. Because then I can have two separate models. I can have the interior model, the exterior model, and never the twain shall meet. And it's basically just loading different levels. I mean, what I could do is, rather than stairs, have just like a lift that goes down, so then I've got an upstairs and a downstairs, and if I step into the lift, then again I can do a transition. Because if you know even the vaguest thing about game design, you know that any sort of lift in the game is not there to transport you. It's there to hide loading a level in from you. So, now we have that saved, let's hide everything else. So all the bits that we don't care about, we're going to hide. And then I'm going to go in. And what I want to do is get our curved shape, which I want to start along this line here and go to the center. So, I believe if I'm doing my thought process is right, if I add a mirror, so I should be able to then go into edit mode and this is where I need to remember how on earth to use Blender. So I want edge slice. No, it's loop cut. That around there. if I do that, and then let's just split like that. So what I want to then do, actually, do I want to do that? Right. Let's oh, I'm moving across the wrong axis. Oh. What? Where on earth did that come from? Why do I have both an interior and an exterior face? I don't. Am I doing something wrong here? Where on earth? Oh, do I need to? Oh, okay. So that one directly. So if I go along there, oh, need to bisect. Because if I don't, right. Okay. So let's go here. And what we want to do is we'll take these edges and shift in along the X and like that, and then more along the X. And shift in even more along the X. I think what we want to do, take that along the Y. Oh, along the Y. Then we'll probably want to select some bits. Y. That's up. Okay. That's okay. Looks good for a low poly curve. Hey Snowtwig, yep, the ship is taking shape. Let's... no, it's not that. Let's apply that. So if I bring the entire ship up, you can see all of the main interior compartments of the ship have all taken shape, but we're just going to focus on the bits we want. But nearing Cube 2 is right wing, left wing, fuel store, crew quarters. Right, well, let's hide. No, we want the left wing up. Left fuel store can get to engineering, get rid of crew quarters. This is what we're focusing on. So I do need to work out what I want for the profile for this. What sort of shape going down? But let's just see. Is no, the iPad's still not working. Why does it not let me show off the iPad screen? Let me just check something. I would like to get this working because it's very useful to be able to show you the iPad screen. And the problem is that it's not showing up anywhere. It doesn't show up in QuickTime. It doesn't show up in various other things. Just go to the screen. Okay. Recording. Record screen. Well, it says you should be able to go to Control Center to load your screen. I wonder if it's something in... Right, because this... It must be something on the iPad that's stopping this. Because it is... It is something I've believed since I updated to iOS 15. iPad OS 15 can't record iPad screen. Okay, go to Settings, Control Center. Plus, stream recording. Oh! I turn that off. No. Want it on there. Settings. I just want focus on one on my Mac. Notifications and focus. Focus. Streaming. Share across devices. Okay. So if I turn that off. That is still on there. So now, if I go here, it still doesn't show it up. So it's not that. I will have to find out what on earth has gone wrong with this off stream, because this should... be letting you go to another, take it from another device, and it is not doing it in multiple apps. The current song is Everfall, which is from the League of Legends. So if you haven't seen that, there are 2 full albums effectively that Riot have released that you can use on streams or pretty much anything you like. They're all Twitch safe. Most of them are not necessarily my thing, but a few of them are actually quite nice, so I've thrown them into my playlist. So you can find those at sessions.riotgames.com. There should be a link in my Twitch profile. All of the music that is in my playlist, I always link to the artists on the profile, so it's not going to be the changes they made to like capture kit and stuff like that. Can't capture iPad screen. Time. That's from 2014. Okay, I'll look this up later, but what I would like to do, maybe I just need to update my iPad to iPadOS 15.4 that's just been released. But what I'm going to do is, let's just take a, in fact, let's throw in 3/4. Get rid of the camera because I don't need that. Take a screenshot of this, and actually, if I do it that, I can send it to my iPad. I can't unfortunately use universal control because this is using macOS 12.4 and that is not compatible with iPadOS 15.3. But if I drag this across, airdrop to my iPad, then I can send this to Procreate and just do a quick sketch and then bring it back and then go to Procreate. So what I want, probably going about, probably to about, that's probably going to, oh. That's badly. Right, so what I want to do is, I wish I could share the screen, it will make this so much more interesting for you all. But I'll do this fairly quickly because I have a rough idea what I want to do. Okay. So let's take this and send it back to my Mac. And I can open this up and show you. So I'm thinking maybe something like this in terms of the outer shape. So, like in terms of the outer hull, it's going to be a bit above the roof here, and then at the bit this starts curving in, it's actually going to curve down and then down again and curve around like that, and then sort of slide like that. I mean, I wonder if it's actually worth me doing the outer hull before I start doing any more on the interior, because especially on the bridge, the outer hull is going to determine things, because this is going to be windows going down. So yeah, I think what I might do is, I think the next step for all of this is going to be build the outer hull, even if it's just fairly basic. Because I mean, it would be a good project for me to help learn quite a bit more Blender, actually building this out. And once that is done, then I'll know what shape I want for this front bit. And once that's defined, because this is going to be the bit that when the stream starts, you're going to be looking. So if I position the camera, oh, because I wasn't actually in Blender. It's like, why is it letting me in but not? So if I go in and I am okay, so the camera is going to be roughly about here, probably a bit higher, so you're going to be able to see out here all the space stuff. There's going to be consoles all around there. Table's probably going to be somewhere in the middle here. And then you'll be able to go along through a door there and have the main camera, which will be sort of here. Looking at this wall, which will have the screen on it, probably full height, so it'll be fairly tall. I mean, it will all depend on like the display, so the height of these, I may make them higher, because at the moment they're about, what, 2 meters high? I may change them to be like 3 meters or something, because I'll need to size this depending on what the actual screen size is going to be, so that it fits in with the overlay, because I'm going to have to design like probably a new overlay. I'm probably going to change the color scheme to be more of like, get rid of the green and make it more of a white and blue to fit in with everything else. But we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think what I'll do is, I think I'm going to call the stream there, and I just saw that someone got online. So we're going to go and raid Finite, who should be getting online very soon, and go and see his wonderful setup, because Finite is one of the people that inspires me in terms of what you can do on your stream. His stream is a load of fun. He has a load of great effects. Doing stuff like there's all of his people coming in from the back, his various clones of himself that chat can bring out, all his stuff, bringing out his dog Roscoe, and especially my favourite part is Choke Boom, which is what is inspiring me to think of ways that I can have like a game inside the overlay for chat to play, maybe on breaks or before the stream or something like that, some interactive thing like that, because Choke Boom is a lot of fun. But yeah, we will get that raid started and we will head over there pretty shortly. But I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you Voodoo Gaming Studio for the raid. It is much appreciated, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, a wonderful rest of your weekend. I will be back on Monday, where I will probably be doing some more Streamline. I want to focus on that for a while, but for a while it may be that I do a bunch of coding, and when my brain goes on coding, I'll jump into Blender and maybe do 30 minutes to an hour on Blender at the end of most of the streams, and we'll see what happens there. But thank you all for coming, and as always, happy coding.